Ahora sí, racita, buenas noches. Miércoles, we're here live. Una nochecita más por acá en el Chokorreo. Saludos a toda la gente. Happy belated Thanksgiving to everybody. Hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Que comieron un chingo de pavo. Y para la gente que no come pavo like me, this year we didn't have... Literally, we had pizza for Thanksgiving.
Change it up a little bit.
Yeah, we changed it up because we were in New York. Gracias a Dios, we were able to take a Thanksgiving family trip.
Nice.
So we had a trip to New York. Pero toda la gente, ojalá que se le pasó bien el Día de Acción de Gracias. Y ya también ya viene Navidad, Año Nuevo. So, you know, the end of the year is here, man. Pretty much here. Tonight's episode is mi compa Luis Sanchez de Radio Fuego.
Yes,
hey,
yes,
brother.
yes.
Thanks for coming out,
Bro,
man.
thank you for having me.
Ahorita con los tiempecillos tenías otro compromiso y te arrancaste para acá.
Sí, bro.
And I want to thank you. Appreciate you coming out. Tardecito, pero seguro.
No, sí.
Es lo chido. And that speaks a lot, bro, that you're busy, man.
Yeah.
It
Hay
was a
trabajo.
busy year. Este fue el primer año que nos
Sí,
conocimos.
bro.
You're doing a lot of stuff, a lot of movement, apoyando el talento local de
Amén.
Chicago. Andamos pues más o menos ahí en el mismo ruedo, aparte pues le damos a la música nosotros también.
Sí, bro.
We've been in the music scene here in Chicago since 2014.
Mm.
So it's been a couple
Right,
years,
right.
bro. I see you're like I can say you're pretty much the new generation coming
Right, bro.
out. Y es un talento también. No cualquiera se arrima a los micrófonos y ahorita vamos a hablar de how you get there, your motivations, everything, bro. We're
Right.
gonna talk about basically this episode is yours. Um, a toda la gente que ya se anda sintonizando, a la gente que lo va a estar viendo, siempre les pido un share, un like a las redes sociales, igualmente ahí con mi compa Luis, que lo sigan ahí en Radio Fuego, en all the social media pages, and that's the whole theme and the whole
Oh, yeah.
business that we have this platform as well,
Mhm.
Nosotros nos gusta siempre andar apoyando la musicada, pues tenemos muchos colegas ahí que conocemos y viene mucho talento nuevo también, so I mean, this is a space for everybody, para que se dé, para que se hable pues de la historia de cada quien, so
Sí.
I'm pretty excited to hear your story, man,
Thank
because
you, man.
it's como te digo, we just met a couple months ago.
Mhm.
And, I've seen on social media, man, andas para arriba y para abajo y,
Sí.
y hay ganas, and,
Sí,
and that's
bro.
pretty badass, man, porque ya a comparado que los tiempos de antes, la radio era un poco diferente, ahorita ya hay más platforms
Right,
to
right.
move
It's
around.
more streaming stuff, like
More
this, yeah.
streaming, the social media helps out a lot,
Mhm.
So, la gente que te sigue, they could, go in your social media y van a ver qué estás haciendo, bro.
Yeah, bro.
So, I mean, la gente que está viendo el episodio, preséntate y ahorita vamos a hablar de dónde vienes y cómo surge tu
Ya está,
historia.
bro. No, pues primero que nada, thank you for having me, bro. It's the first time, I'm on the other side of the mic, and usually I'm the one interviewing, so
Yeah.
it feels good, to be able to, share the story to eso. But no, yeah, thank you for having me here. Thank you for the space, and yeah, I'm ready to get into it. Mi raza. My name is Luis Sanchez. If you guys have heard of me, I run a radio show called Radio Fuego. Lately, I've been known as that radio guy or the guy on TikTok that people have been calling me on the street, todo eso.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the little basic intro about me. Pero ahí viene la plática bien spicy por aquí, raza. Ahí viene.
Yeah, vamos a hablar de varias cosillas de lo que es estar en ese micrófono, de lo que es entrevistas.
Sí.
Llegas a ver igual que nosotros muchas cosas en el ambiente. Pues a veces también me imagino que when you're hitting up the radio, you gotta spice it up y como que meter un chismecillo ahí, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Meterle algo
Sí.
interesante porque la gente, pues al final del día también hay gente que le gusta mucho el chisme, el
Sí,
mitote y la
sí.
chingada. I
Ujú.
mean, es lo normal.
Sí, ¿no?
Siempre hay, como ahorita en el mundial, with the whole mundial going on, todos son técnicos, directores
Oh, my
técnicos,
God, yeah, I know.
todos saben de fútbol, o cuando hay, cuando pasa un boxing, todos son boxeadores,
Oh,
ya
yeah,
se sabe.
everybody's
Se
a
le...
Canelo fan.
Yeah,
todo
right,
eso.
yeah. Todos, es parte de, whatever. Yo, pues, la neta, pues, I rather speak the truth. Sabemos que, pues, a México ya es uno de los eliminados.
Yeah.
Desde
Unfortunately.
que entraron ya muchos
Right, that's-
hablaban
yeah,
que
we
ya
know,
it wasn't
right.
looking good
Yeah,
in the
right,
beginning,
we
so let's
know.
be realistic,
Yeah.
bro. So that's how I just keep it 100% real.
For sure.
And yeah, bro. Mi compa Luis Sanchez, how you grew up, how old are you? How was your childhood before, what? Because obviously there has to be something that
That clicked, right?
clicked for you to be wanting to be on a mic and being, with the locutor and
Yeah.
and the whole scene. ¿De dónde vienes?
For sure, bro. Pues desde chiquito, a la gente que me conocen, like, I've always wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
Así en ese ambiente when I was little, my parents, my family can tell you que, I was always wanting to be in that show business. I always wanted to be on TV with a microphone, with a camera always on me, bro.
Okay.
So, and like fast forward to like middle school, I was like, como que to be an actor, I'm like, I'm funny naturally. I feel like like if I tell you like if I tell you a joke, I can't make you laugh right now. But like if I say something, I'll make you laugh. I'm
Yeah.
unintentionally funny. So I'm like I don't know, maybe an actor like isn't for me. So yeah, I started to like look at different career paths in like high school y todo eso. Y pues back in the day, I was like a no sabo kid, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Like how far back?
I mean, early childhood, like my dad's pretty paisa, so
Okay.
me and my dad
So
would go to the bailes like matching trajes y todo eso.
oh, nice.
So,
That's
yeah.
badass, dude.
So I mean, yeah, like, I grew up with the music and everything like that. But yeah, once I got to like elementary school, middle school, I went to like an all white school, so I
So como que te dio pena
sí, bro,
andar en
sí,
botas o andar
yeah,
así, like show where you're from type
yeah,
of
bro.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Pues in my personal essay that I wrote for college, bro, I like a statement that highlighted it because I really like changed my life around is that um one morning when I was at middle school or no in elementary school, I was like in first grade, bro, and I was watching Go Diego Go, Dora the Explorer, todo eso. You know how they teach you the Spanish words, todo eso
Yeah.
there. Entonces I was really excited to share like this new word with the crowd y todo eso, I mean, with the students, todo eso. And que un güero me dice, hey, he's like, we're in America, you can't speak Spanish, you gotta speak English. And I was like,
okay.
oh shit, I'm like, maybe he's right. Like maybe I gotta speak like English. I can't like show that side of me. That maybe that Spanish side only gotta stay
At
you
home.
know, at home.
Oh, holy
So
shit.
desde ahí, bro, like up until like 8th grade, middle school, bro, like I was, you know, like I never show my Mexican side of me.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, pues cuando entré a la high school, I went to Morton, which is over there in Berwyn, which is kind of
More in West.
Morton West, yeah.
Morton West, okay.
And you know, there's a little bit more Hispanics over there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, like freshman year, I'm like, I gotta fit in with all these people who are coming from like all the other middle schools in the area. Y todo eso. So I'm like, let me start listening to Mexican music again. So ya ahí voy, like, escuchando los corridos que estaban pegando, como Ariel Camacho, Legado 7, Fuerza
Okay.
Regida, all was hitting in that 2016, 17 there. Like, era
Okay.
right there, bro.
So you're fairly young, bro.
Yeah, bro. So I'm 19 years old.
19 years
just so
old.
you guys can get the idea. The beer makes me look
Yeah,
25,
sí,
but
te-
no, we're
No,
19
qué bueno.
on this side.
¿Y tus papás de dónde son, bro?
My dad's from Guanajuato, bro, and he was born over there. And then my mom, she was born here, and she's from San Luis Potosí.
San Luis Potosí,
Yeah, so
shout out.
My dad and my mom were here.
Yeah. So sí vienes de sangre mexicana. La gente de Guanajuato y la gente de San Luis Potosí. Big shout out to la gente.
Así es.
Everybody, definitely. Ahí también para comentar a la gente que le está dando un share, un
sí,
like.
claro.
Por ahí está. We have always the open chat where we get to see the messages. People that want special shout outs or gente que quiera saludar aquí a la raza, mi compadre Luis.
Ya sabes.
Definitely, man. Any questions también. Todo está bienvenido con que no anden ofendiendo a la chingada. The good thing que aquí no hay filtro, bro. Aquí, pues, a veces el que habla más pinches lo que era soy yo. Pero aquí está bienvenido a hablar lo que es o lo que quieras. Una grosería no impide. Por eso, you know, I like to always have the open mic and be clear. And you know, it's la cosa es for you be yourself, man.
Right,
You know, porque a veces uno... you know, hay certain people que le prenden una cámara and they switch on you, you know?
Yeah.
They have
Like
automatically that's,
personality
yeah. Y abajo del escenario or once the camera's turned off, it's different, bro.
Yeah, bro,
They change on you, you know? Pero pues, y ahorita pues ya es muy regular, muy común ver la gente be themselves, man.
Yeah.
Hay muchos que they end up showing their true colors, which, you know, you get, ¿cómo se dice? When you, like, not starstruck, it's the opposite. You get disappointed when you see, like, un idol or somebody you look up to,
Like,
or
your
even an
hopes,
artist.
like,
Yeah,
your
your
hopes
hopes go
go
down when they be an asshole, nomás porque le pides una foto o un autógrafo, te mandan a la chingada. Y uno como que se siente, you know, because you would see them on TV, you
like,
hear their music, or, you know, whatever it happens, y te tratan mal, you know, that's... pero ahorita pues hay un poco de todo ya con las redes sociales. Everybody has a camera, bro. You know, all eyes on anybody, you know. So de morrillo, dices que te gustaba mucho querer, you know, wanting to be an actor. When you were a child, did you like being like the center of attention at home?
Bro,
or was it like,
so,
¿cómo eran las family parties when you were there? ¿O qué te acuerdas when it came to that? Because obviously... A veces uno no se da cuenta de morrillo, but your parents or your siblings or a family member or somebody that knew you from your childhood knew that you had something going on.
was I was the only child for 10 years to start.
Okay.
So, de por sí, I
¿Estabas
was,
chiqueado?
yeah, bro.
Sí, estabas
Yeah,
chiqueado.
bro.
Órale, yeah, yeah.
And then on top of being the oldest sibling now, because I have two younger siblings también, I'm the oldest cousin and
Okay.
relative. So, todo, like all the cousins and everything.
You
like
were
that,
like the first one?
yeah, I was the first one, bro.
Okay.
So
For everything.
yeah, so
Holy
like
shit.
pretty much the center of attention was like always on me.
Okay.
And también when we would go to family parties or like my parents told me when they would take they couldn't find a babysitter for me because it was that era. I was born 2003, so it was that era of Duranguense and todo eso. So
Yes,
they
sir.
couldn't find a babysitter, so they would take me to the bailes with them.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, I would go on top of the stage and start singing with the banda and stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's where it like started, bro. Like
Okay,
and
just
it
going.
built up, yeah.
Going to events. Do you
Mhm.
remember as a child what places you went? Did you go to Plaza Garibaldi? Did you go to
I know for sure.
Rancho 57 or maybe los festivales de aquí de Fiesta del Sol?
Yeah.
Where did you what do you remember?
For sure, like going to like Lalo's and like having like the mariachi or the mandas.
Oh,
like,
it's Lalo's like a restaurant, right? It's
live
like a
music and todo
family,
eso. So
yeah.
like for sure that I remember like going like Plaza Garibaldi and like the Pilsen Fest and todo eso.
Oh,
like,
nice.
so yeah, I remember just always being interactive with people and always being social ever since I was little.
Ah, okay. Entonces, sin querer queriendo, tus parents te metieron eso, lo de la música, pues they didn't have a babysitter.
Right,
Y
so
y te llevaban y pues obviamente ahí
me
andabas.
gustaba, bro,
Yeah, y te gustó.
yeah.
Yeah, that's, y fíjate que back then, it was in, like, maybe sometimes you go to, like, La Herradura and you see, a couple parents with their kids.
Right.
Maybe they don't have a babysitter either, bro.
Exactly.
So, they want to have a good time and it's during the day. It's a family-orientated
Right,
event,
right.
which sometimes you don't see a lot of families, but, you'll see one here and there in the events porque, pues, obviamente, va the young crowd, la gente que quiere echar pisadera y quiere echar cotorreo y, es un poco más de desmadrillo, pero, no se le... There's nothing wrong with you taking your... Because, I mean, I'm at a point where I'm a dad, too, I'm a first-time dad with a 3-year-old, and I'm starting to take him to the festivals where we play now that we're, I there's certain times and spaces where I'm able to take them, like my wife and my son. Y él le gusta también, él igual con la música ahorita que ensayamos aquí en la casa también, igual él baja a escuchar. And so, I mean, le inculcas in the correct way or as a positive way, and, I think they tend to like it. So, I mean, that's pretty cool that your parents kind of like gave you that little spark without them knowing, without you knowing, but you just liked it, bro.
Yeah.
And that's badass. So your childhood was, going out to events with your parents. In elementary school, did you do any type of talent shows, anything when it comes to that? Like, even talking about when they had assemblies, a veces te ponían a leer un papelito. Did you ever, participate in any of
bro,
that
I was
stuff?
always that kid in the classroom who always had his hand raised. The teachers would always tell me, okay, somebody else. I was always that kid who always had his hand raised, wanted to participate, todo eso. Talent shows, no, because they really didn't have that at my schools. But I'm pretty sure if they did, me echaba, I would definitely get on the stage, todo eso. But, no, as for, like, me being that kid, I was that kid who would, like, go and read when, nobody wanted to. I was that person.
So, when you said you started, like, was it, like, your whole time of middle school when you stopped, the whole paisa scene or the whole was it just middle school or was it elementary school as well?
Elementary school and middle school, bro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like in middle school, like I listened to like straight rap music. I still do to this day. Not as much as I did back in middle school. Like I was popular back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
In middle school I was a whole different person. Now, like you talk to me in middle school, you're not gonna get the same person. It's a whole different person.
Okay. And then you get to high school. You go to you start going to Morton West, and the environment, man. What did you feel? ¿Qué vías when you first, your first couple days in school? ¿Qué sentías tú? Like, it's a big change, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. So originally, Morton has that stereotype where it's gangbangers, fights, and stuff like that.
Ghetto and stuff like that.
Ghetto.
Okay.
My parents went there, so they. That stereotype when I was little growing up, I had like family members, uncles, aunts that went there too, and that stereotype that it was always a ghetto school, was always in my head, and like I was always scared, like damn, like I'm really gonna have to go to Morton, so So, I tried everything, like, to go to a different school, go to a Catholic school, go to a private school. I wasn't even going to pay, like a whole bunch of money to go to a school that was, like, 30 minutes away just to
Oh
not go to
shit.
Morton.
Okay.
But, yeah, and I actually ended up going to Morton. I remember my freshman year, like, a week late because I was still trying to see my options. And then, like, it didn't end up working out, so I had to go to Morton. And I'm thankful that I ended up going to Morton, man, because it opened my eyes, being finally around people that, you know, are embracing your culture, but not in a forced way. Like you can be around everybody talking Spanish and having a good time with us. But in middle school, elementary school, I couldn't do that with my other friends. Though. So.
Yeah, it was a whole different environment,
Yeah,
man. And that you said that you're happy that you went there. Era como que cada quien andaba en su rollo. It didn't matter if they were like black or white
right.
or Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
Cada quien se
Yeah,
respetaba, pues.
yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's pretty badass.
And that's why I was like, okay, maybe it's not.
It's
that
not
bad.
as bad as I thought it was
Right,
gonna
yeah.
be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you did your 4 years of high school
Yeah.
there,
Mm-hmm.
and how was it there? What did you end up doing in high school, man?
Pues, I always like getting involved, even in middle school, like in clubs, todo eso. So, like sophomore, junior, senior year, I was involved in every club that like was there. In sports too, I was in football, wrestling, también por ahí.
Oh shit.
So yeah, I was in sports, también, but también in the clubs, I was in this club called Spanish Honor Society.
Okay.
Which is like National Honor Society where you do community service hours and y todo eso, but like in Spanish. So
is it more like sorry to interrupt,
okay.
but it's is that like the Spanish honors? Is that more for like the Spanish community, or you volunteer anywhere, or
Pretty
is
much, it's for school. Pretty much the only requirement you needed was to be in a Spanish class at the time. So like,
okay?
at the time, like I had lost my speaking in like Spanish since I had been only speaking it at home. Like to be able to like speak in like public, like I was really whitewashed my Spanish. That's why I said I was like a no sabo.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm still a little bit, but with having a Spanish radio, you kind of
Sí, te tienes que poner las pilas,
yeah,
pues,
well,
para andar hablando
mm-hmm.
y
so,
your vocabulary has to change
yeah,
really fast and you learn a lot, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I took some Spanish classes in high school to like regain that confidence y todo eso. So ya de ahí agarré más confianza y todo eso en hablar español and write it y todo eso. Y ya pues me dijeron, hey, we like your work ethic. How would you like to be the president of the club? And I was like, yeah, I'm down 100%. And for me, like, my work ethic is always like, what's next? What do we got to do? So, for example, one event we had for Dia de los Muertos at the school, which was crazy because, like I said, Morton's all Hispanic high school. And they've never done a Dia de los Muertos event there.
Oh,
and I'm like...
And you would think that it would be something,
you would think there would be something there. And I told my teacher, who was like, the sponsor of the club, I was like, we got to do something, like, que sea algo grande. But it was during the time of COVID, so, it's kind of like, what can you do that's not, like, online? So, we got permission from the principals to do something outside. And it was a big community event. We had a mural painting of, like, Dia de los Muertos, and everybody got to put, like, a picture of their relative that passed away on the board y todo eso. We had live music.
Oh,
I contacted a grupo to come out, and I'm like, all right, so...
¿Cuál grupo fue?
It was Los Plebeyos de la Sierra.
Oh, Plebeyos?
Yeah, but now
okay.
It's like Nuevo Grado en la delincuencia.
Yeah, con el compa Angelito, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, big shout out.
So yeah, we had them come out. Thankfully, they played for a little bit. We had a good time. And like, I want to say 2 days before the event, I'm like, this is cool, but I'm like, it's missing something. So yeah, me puse en Instagram, and I was looking for reporters from Univision. I'm like, it'd be cool if they can come out and like do a story on us. And so yeah, I voy messaging everybody, trying to figure out like if somebody can come out here and do like a small story or something like that. And the only person that answered me was Enrique Rodriguez from Univision, the reporter.
Okay.
So he called me back, and I was in class, and I called him during my lunch, and ya me dijo, he's like, we can't get a camera crew over there. He's like, but we'll send a photographer, and we'll get pictures, and we'll post you guys on the website, so you guys have that like awareness to us. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm like, that's what's up. So yeah, ever since like in high school, I was always looking like, what's the next step? What I got to do? Because since I was little, college was always like, I always wanted to go. It was never forced on me that like, yo, mijo, you got to go to college.
Yeah.
I'm the first that went to college in my family. I'm still going, by the way. So
big shout out.
So yeah, it was never forced on me to go to college. I always wanted to go to college, and having those things on your resume that oh, you were in this, you were in that. It helps you on your college resume. So I guess that's kind of my idea of path of how it was in high school.
So in high school, que hablas that you became president and you were always looking to change things.
Mhm.
You know, that's a big thing because mucha gente le gusta
Sí.
apoyar, pero es a veces es difícil encontrar esa persona que va a dar el arranque o
Mhm.
que va a dar la cara por el movimiento que quieres hacer. You
Mhm.
know, it's hard. Even in a family, the one that's gonna give the last word or el que va a dar la iniciativa de iniciar un proyecto y a veces muchos te apoyan, sí te
Yeah.
apoyan, pero no va a ser el que, hey, yo lo voy a iniciar, yo voy a, tomarme el tiempo de mi vida personal para buscar esto, para,
Right, right, right. Mhm.
try to reach out to
These
somebody,
guys
que,
to do
ajá,
something, to
exactly,
plan eventos also.
and that's a talent as well, man.
Yeah, no,
And I
thank you.
congratulate you on that. That's pretty awesome porque no cualquiera como te digo, no cualquiera se
Right.
arrima a un micrófono, no cualquiera va a decir, yo voy a dar la iniciativa para que
Mhm.
ver dónde llega, hasta dónde llega.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool that you were able to start the cultural movement out in the school.
Mhm.
You know, and you said was that your freshman year when you became president, or was it
It
sophomore year?
was my junior year.
Junior,
Yeah.
okay.
So sophomore year, I was just in the club as a regular member. Yeah, they seen like I was doing a lot in the club, and they're like, hey, we don't have a president. They're like, so you want to step up? I was like, hell yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, pues ahí empezó that I stepped up and took it. I was the president for my junior year and my senior year.
In your senior year, what was some of your accomplishments when it came to? Were you still the president, or were you still involved in the Spanish Honor
Yeah, for
Society?
sure.
Como era?
I was in pretty much all the clubs I was in. I was in like a debate team, so I was always like debating politics and todo eso. I was in that. I was in student council, so pretty much everything with the school. But my senior year was like COVID shutdowns. Like the whole year was a COVID.
Yeah, you're
My,
right.
my
Okay.
junior year was the first year I still had a school year, and yeah, the second half we didn't know if we were going back.
Oh, because it was the March. It started like in February,
Yeah,
March,
bro.
right?
So
Okay.
that's why.
So like the beginning of the school year in your
Mhm.
junior year, um, when it came to that stuff, basically, you were doing, you could only do so much, but then it shut down. Basically, is that
Right,
what you're?
bro. Yeah. So and it's like, man, like you want to do so much, but like you gotta have these limitations because COVID's a real thing, and you want to make sure everybody's safe, and so it's a big thing, and it was a lot of not pressure on me, but a little bit because you had to make sure things were running smoothly. You had to make sure everybody was double masked, 6 feet apart, doing those safety things because if somebody gets sick, it's on you.
Yeah,
At the end of the
basically,
day.
sometimes they try to find
Throw you
who
under the
to
bus.
who to blame, kind of a situation.
Yeah.
But man, that's pretty cool. Did you finish your high school during COVID? You finished high school during COVID, or ya se
Uh,
había terminado?
Yeah, I graduated in what is it, May or June? I think it was May. May of 2021. So it was still there a little bit, but not as bad.
They
as it
had
was.
kind of opened like one.
Right. We actually had a graduation. The class before us didn't even have a graduation. They had
Okay.
it online. So we had ours at the football field. And,
Oh,
even though we all had masks on, but we at least got to be like all together.
Yeah,
The high school.
actually, como convivir pues con tus
Mhm.
classmates
Yeah,
and stuff
one
like
last
that.
time because I haven't seen these guys in like half a year, so
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Ahí saludados a los que ya se andan reportando. Ahí saludos al compa Juan Reyes, mi compa Rafa, que nunca falta por ahí. Saludazos a los
Saludazos,
gallos,
cómo no.
a toda la música, también los compas de los del norteño Sax, bro.
That's todo.
Big shout out.
Shout out, guys. Thank you guys for listening in.
Yeah, definitely, man. Y you finish high school, and then what's your next step when it comes to college? Because you said you always you
Yeah,
had
bro.
that goal.
Mhm.
How does that come in?
So supuestamente, when I was looking for a major to like see what am I gonna apply for, because it's different. If you're gonna apply to be an engineer, obviously you're gonna go to like an engineering school y todo eso. So I was like, man, like what do I want to be? So my dad's a carpenter, and I'm like como que me da ganas a seguirle en esa carrera como él. So I'm like, me gustaba architecture. I like to, I had a good eye for designs, and I was really creative. So I was like, me gusta. Yeah, and so my dad sat down with me. He's like, hey, is this really what you wanna do? He's like, porque he's like, yo te veo que tienes the personality to be like on camera, and pretty much supporting me in my dream ever since I was little. So and a lot of parents don't do that. So I thank my parents for always supporting me on that dream. To keep at it. Pues ya ahí I'm like, man, like maybe architecture isn't for me then. So yeah, empecé. I was like, I'm like, well, I like sports a lot. I'm like, so in high school también, I also started to do announcing for the sports todo eso. So I would
Okay.
announce for the football games, basketball games, starting lineups, todo eso. You're here now, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I would do that in the high school, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, let me keep it going in college. I'm like, let me keep it going with the sports announcing, or let me keep doing like play-by-play announcer. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to school for sports journalism. Either be writing about it or talking about it. And so yeah, when I applied to school, like I was like for sure that I wanted to go out of state. Like I was applying to schools in California, Michigan. I wanted to go out of state. I really didn't want to stay here.
You wanted to get out of Chicago
I
and
wanted to
in
get
Illinois.
out.
Okay.
So yeah, pero after I looked at the financial aid letter y todo eso, and I looked at my options, be like, okay, what's the best option? Pues yeah, I limited my options to like, okay, I'm gonna go to a school here in Chicago. It was either Loyola, DePaul, or UIC.
Okay.
And I was like, well, UIC's, there you go. UIC's, I'm not paying anything. I got a full ride scholarship at UIC. So,
Congratulations,
yeah,
brother. Congratulations.
So I'm like, you can't be going to school for free. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna be able to, before I, say I'm actually gonna go there. Let me talk to the athletics program and see if they have an opening for the announcing there. Because their current announcer at the time is now the Cubs announcer who went to school there. So they kind of have that training for the seed, to coach up people. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go there, and they're really cool. And we talked, and they liked my personality, my work ethic, and they hired me. I still do the announcing for them and todo eso. So yeah, I decided to go to UIC, major in communications, and to do something like this. And yeah, plus freshman year, I got into the radio.
How is the college life? Because I'm assuming it's you're getting a full ride,
Mm-hmm.
which I congratulate you.
You, thank you.
Porque it's a big thing. Not a lot of people get a full ride, man. Y qué bueno que lo estás aprovechando y le estás echando las ganas. How's the college life for you? Dealing with more in West, something different, going to a well-known college here in Illinois in the state. What's your experience so far?
Man, I like it because coming from Morton where it's like 90% Latino, like 10% Black, and like the other, it's crazy because you go to UIC and like you feel at home because you see Mexicans, you see Asians, you see a little bit of everything there, and that's what I like about it. That's so diverse that if I went to a school like in Michigan, it would have been like all white people, and I would have been like the only Mexican again.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I'm going to UIC, and it's such a diverse place where you can see so many new places, so many new cultures and stuff like that. I like it, man. It's the college life. It's great. It's everything I've ever wanted and everything I've ever expected out of it. Ever since the movies, how they portray it.
Yeah.
That's how it is for me. That's
Yeah.
how, I see it right now.
That's badass, man.
Yeah.
Y ahí con UIC, how many years are you gonna be doing when it comes to communications?
So I need to do 4 years. So I'm a sophomore. So nomás me faltan dos más.
Dos más. Ahí vas a medio camino, man.
Mm-hmm.
Y vas por buen camino. That's super badass. Nosotros aquí, pues, dijeras, es más un improvisado,
Sí.
Uno que está tanto en el ambiente, hay gente que no se acostumbra a hablar enfrente de una cámara o ver entrevistas. Gracias a Dios nos ha tocado unos really good rides, man. I've been on tour a couple times already, so you get to meet really
Good people,
very, very cool people. You meet people. If you know what you're doing and know what you want, you get to meet like the important people behind the scenes. I've been to Televisa. I've been to TV Azteca, Galavisión. I've been in Mexico, living in Mexico for months at a time. Been on tour. I'm originally not from the city, so estás metido en un ambiente donde you put your foot in and you're gonna build bridges, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna make your own city and build your own bridges, and you can. The sky's the limit when it comes to communications, man. Because right now you could be here, and en otro año, en otros años puedes estar somewhere else,
Right.
en una radio.
Media company, radio. Who knows?
Who knows where you could
Yeah,
be,
we'll
y como dices tú, you're gonna study for it, y ya you're putting your foot in the door. ¿Cómo nace Radio Fuego? That's one of the questions
right.
now that we're in.
Yeah,
now that you're in
that's what
college
we-
and you have your college radio show.
Yes, sir.
¿Cómo es que nace?
Pues primero que nada, I kind of expected también when I applied, I wanted to give the radio a try, but I never expected it to be what it's become now. So pretty much in school they have the involvement fair. I don't know if you've seen como like Monsters University where they have all the clubs there and everybody's showing that like join our club, todo eso.
Okay.
So the radio station was right in the middle of like the whole, or what is it, the quad, where like in the middle of the whole school, pretty much a big area. So they were in the middle of the school. They were DJing live music at todo eso. Yeah, pues I went up to them and I asked for more information. I'm like, hey, how can I apply? I'm like, I'm interested. Yeah, pues I filled out the form y todo eso, and as I'm filling out the form, I'm excited. At the time I didn't drive still, so my dad's picking me up from school because he works in the city también here and there. So my dad was picking me up, and I'm filling out the application to apply for a radio spot in the studio, and I'm telling him, I'm like, man, I know for sure I want my station to be all like Spanish music. I don't want it to be no English music, so all Spanish music on there. Bring something new. It's probably something they haven't seen there before. I'm not sure on that, so don't quote me on that. But,
yeah.
But yeah, I knew for sure I wanted to have like an all Spanish radio station, and but yeah, I had the mindset of what it was gonna be about. Now I just needed the name. So yeah, el nombre vino. The mascot of UIC is the Flames. So I'm like, what does that translate to in Spanish? And my dad's like, we were saying like all the words to us. So ya pues me entré a Google Translate. And I put flames, yeah, salió Fuego.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm like, what? I'm like, that sounds pretty fire. I'm like, so I'll just put Radio Fuego. I'm like, and I'm like, I didn't think it was gonna stay. Honestly, I thought I was gonna end up changing it. And yeah, that's how the name right there. My dad's car driving on the highway. That's right there how it was formed right there.
Finding in the name just a translation of basically the mascot
of
of
school.
UIC.
Mm-hmm.
Y como inicias. Well, you get the idea of the name.
Right.
You apply.
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take for them to reach back out to see if there's a spot available for you? How did that work?
It was like a week later. They responded pretty quick. They're like, hey, we like your application. They're like, would you be down to come in for an interview? I was like, hell yeah. So yeah, I went to the interview y todo eso, and they liked me, and they're like, okay, and they're like, you have this spot. I think it was Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. So it was perfect because I had class like from like 9 to 10. Yeah, plus after class I would go to my radio station. Yeah, after the radio station go back to class. So it worked out perfect. But in my first semester, so this is my first semester at college. So in the fall of 2021, I just had the radio station, just Spanish music. Like I was DJing on the radios. So every week I would have a specific genre. So one week I would play, regional Mexican. The next week I would play Duranguense. The next week Norteños, and just keep it like that the whole hour of the show.
Okay.
Hasta que, I went to Mexico for winter break. So we're in the spring semester now. Y ya pues el compa Brandon por ahí, Delegado X, me dijo, he's like, hey bro, after I got back from Mexico, he's like, it would be fire. He's like, I don't know if you've seen Pepe's office. He's like, but he's like, it'd be cool if me and my grupo can come in and play in the radio station. And I was like, damn, like that would be pretty raw. Y pues I was texting him. Yeah, I was in my radio station así nomás, looking at my phone in the studio while the music was playing. Yeah, I'm like, they have un TikTok saying, hey, come out to my radio station y todo eso. I'm looking for every Chicago grupo, anybody who wants to come out and get interviewed. I was like, help me out, get big, and I'm like, I'll help you guys get big. We get big together.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, pues I finished the radio station. I ended up going home. Yeah, pues le entré otra vez. I got home and le entré al TikTok, and man, it was blowing up. It was going crazy. Like I think it had like 20,000 likes. It was going crazy, and everybody was commenting like, hey, we're down. Like, and there was groups like I hadn't even heard of before saying they were down. There was groups from New Jersey, Texas, California saying that, hey, we'll fly out there, let us be your first guest to us. I'm like, damn. I'm like, chill. I'm ready to getting started. I'm like, let me get the ball rolling. I'm like, then later on we could talk about that. Yeah, pues I let all the message cool down for a little bit. Yeah, I went to my room and I opened up my laptop and I was just there copying, pasting everybody who was interested on like one form. And man, it was like 6 pages long of all the people who contacted me, grupos with their who contacted me. So when I have availability, I'll contact them back. And I still have that form that I'm still getting back to people and everything. Yeah. And gracias a Dios, I've been like booked ever since that. And Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for El Compa Memo también from Through Chokorreo, he shared
Big
my
shout
TikTok
out.
right there, and de ahí también he knows all the Chicago grupos right there too.
Yeah,
He's
definitely,
got a big
man.
following base, so from him sharing that, it kind of brought me to some awareness también. So yeah, the TikTok and El Compa Memo helping me out. Yeah, pues
Vas entrando into the. Is that where kind of you put your step the foot into the music
that's where,
scene?
yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's where it started, bro.
Who when you start Radio Fuego, your first or the orientation of how the radio is supposed to work, or your first stream, your first show, how was it? How was
The live one or like
yeah
DJing, like
yeah
the
the
grupos?
yeah no the how do you start with the, because you said you started off just putting
Right,
music,
music,
right?
huh?
How did that, that's because obviously that's your first show,
Mm-hmm.
right? How did that happen?
That happened, bro. Cause
Do you get a special training with the board and mics, or how does that work? How
yeah. Well, when they after I finished the interview, they're like, all right, like we already knew you were already, and we just wanted to meet you, make sure you were good. And pues ya, that after the interview, they showed me how to work the board, how the mics worked, and everything like that. And it was pretty simple. It's a mixer. You just press on and off, and it's just volume. So it's not that complicated. Um, but yeah, and I would come to my shows every week with a script of what I was gonna say, what songs I was gonna play at what time. Plan out the whole show for an hour. Until yeah, pues after I came back from Mexico, I was like, nah, I'm like I really don't need a script no more. Yeah, I started freestyling it. I started going. However the show took. I would go live on Instagram and say like who wants a song request, and kind of take it from there. I really didn't need a script anymore.
Oh, that's pretty badass. That right? in the on your first semester you get that confidence, man, and y lo bueno de que siempre tienes ese entusiasmo de no tener miedo to be,
Sí,
being the first one, grabbing the bulls by the horns,
yeah,
man. It is pretty badass that you're doing that in college in UIC, where maybe se puede decir que ahorita are you the only Spanish or Latin radio show there right now?
Yeah, for sure. I'm the only Spanish radio show. There's people that are like Spanglish, but not entirely all in Spanish. Mine's like
all Spanish.
So, I mean, they play Spanish music, but they're not all Spanish dedicated show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say I'm like the only one.
Do you know how many shows are going on throughout the week or the day, or how does that work? Because where can we find you when it comes to your radio show?
For sure, yeah. Since it is a college radio, it's not an actual radio station number. It's an online radio, which I think is even better because the stream can be shared. Mexico, everywhere.
Anywhere,
people
yeah.
listening to Mexico, it's crazy. Que toda la raza ahí de Guanajuato would be like, hey, un saludo para acá y todo eso. So I gotta send the saludo y todo eso. But yeah, pretty much like you gotta fill out the application every semester, to have that spot. So, por ejemplo, ahorita I have the spot from Tuesdays from 3 to 5. But yeah, you gotta fill out like what spot works best for your schedule for school. So, y todo eso. And yeah, I mean, now when you look at the schedule, it's like fairly booked, like back to back. So kids have their show like from 9 to 10, 11 to 12. It's back to back like all 5 days a week. The Saturday and Sundays is a little bit more open, but I would say that it's pretty full the week. I would say about 50 shows probably like a week.
Wow, it's a lot. So it's
people,
about an hour to 2 hour shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have a 2 hour.
Right. So when I first started, I had an hour. I'm like, man, like it's not enough. I'm like, I want
get his
another hour.
mass.
Yeah. And there was people who had an extra hour, but yeah, once the UIC radio people, they started seeing que, hey, como que like I was putting ambiente into it, todo eso. They were like, I asked them, I was like, hey, can I get 2 hours for next semester? And they're like, yeah, we got you. They're like, just let us know what time. Yeah, pues, the Tuesdays worked out for me, and yeah, I'm thankful I have 2 hours of showtime now.
Yeah, man. Y aparte es mucha práctica estar ahí en tu programa, ya que tienes tu programa, y now instead of 2 hours you gotta fill those 2 hours, man, porque es mucho trabajo. Imagínate, uno a veces con una hora, a veces you kind of run out of things. Como dices, you come in with a script, and si se te acaba el script,
you're like,
¿qué voy a decir,
exactly.
Right? Exactly. No, qué bueno. 2 hours, y ahorita ya es cómo entras tú a meter grupos en vivo, because I do remember in the beginning seeing your posts de que iba a empezar a haber grupos. Who was your first band that comes in?
My first grupo was a Chokorreo called Alianza Siete. So saludos a los muchachos. Because
Saludazos.
I was telling people, I'm like, hey, they're like, oh, we work, bro. We have school during the day. So they were the only ones that were like, yo, we'll skip school to come to your show. And I was like, bro, like let's do it. And so, yeah, because, like I said, my show at that time was Wednesdays from 11 to 12. And so keep in mind, this was like in April. So we're only like 7 months, 8 months, something like that into Radio Fuego already. And so, yeah, they were my first grupo, gracias a Dios. And that was when I still had an hour. So, we did it in that hour. It was the first time I did something like that. We didn't even do a mic check. So it was kind of like, we went into it blind, all of us. I look back at the video that I have on YouTube where, I'm there interviewing them. And I'm like, damn, I wish I could tell myself, like, hey, actually, like, I was nervous at that time. I was like, and I rarely get nervous like that. I don't know, ever since I was little, I never had that feeling to get nervous and todo eso. So, for me to feel a little bit nervous on the air at that time with the grupo, I was like, man. But, yeah, the Chamos good show. We got to know about the grupo, where they came from, what they do. And, that's, like, what I wanted the show to be about. And it went as I planned.
That's pretty cool that you're basically... in that concept que quieres apoyar el talento.
Right,
¿Qué es la idea de Radio Fuego when it comes to the bands? Es tener contenido, apoyar el talento local. ¿Qué tipo de invitados tienes o te gusta tener en tu programa? What is the concept of the radio for you?
Pues yeah, I love Spanish music so much, so... Before high school, like, I would never go out to bailes or how it is right now, todo eso. No, I'm going to tell you a funny story later. But, like, when I was in college, I'm like, I knew I want to support local talent. I'm like, porque, you hear the grupos in California, Texas, Mexico, que, they're mainstream. But I'm like, you actually get an idea of how much talent there is here in Chicago. And you're like, man, somebody's got to, find it. Or alguien tiene que pegar. Para que todos pegan, So, and it's just a matter of time because, like I said, there's so much talent here que one group is going to hit and somebody's going to be curious and be like, hey, let me see what Chicago has. And they're going to say this group, that group. And they're going to be like, man, Chicago's got some good music and stuff like that. So it's just a matter of time, bro, before Chicago music blows up. And I'm thankful to be a part of the trend, to help grupos out, those who are just starting out, who have been in the game for a while, trying to get some more... popularity to their group. People go listen and book them to us. So, I'm happy to be that guy that's helping local talent, and they help out me too.
Yeah, definitely. it's help each other out. Help each other grow as well. When it comes to that, y ahorita ya okay, so you said you had your first hour back in April, which was the spring semester, correct?
Spring semester of my freshman year still. So yeah,
freshman, and so you come. This summer, is that when you start going into the events now? Because coincidimos en the Queen Share Festival y también before that el Kermés.
No, Kermés was after.
Kermés was after. I think we saw each other before Queenship too. I think.
Might have been a Michelada Festival maybe.
Michelada, yes, correct. Yeah, Michelada. I was there. We didn't play, but I was there. I was there on Friday because of Código.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Código fan. Y they cancelaron. Y they had Sonora Santanera. I saw a couple songs, the first couple songs, but I had to go, man.
Yeah.
I had to go. I'm not a big fan. There's a couple songs, Los Éxitos,
La Boa.
Yeah, La Boa. That's I saw you there. ¿Cómo es que empiezas a entrar a eventos? Porque pues la radio es una cosa y obviamente vas entrando de locutor in school, in college. ¿Cómo es how you get in the foot in the door into the events?
Yeah, bro. Pues primero que nada, rewinding a little bit back, I want to thank like Los Cabros también because Los Cabros are like, hey, nos jalamos para una entrevista, and it was only like my third week doing it, and I was like, fuck, I'm like this show's got to be badass. So nos jalamos, and it's crazy because I've never seen Los Cabros play live until that moment. They play live in front of me, so I was like, damn, like it feels badass.
Y son unos shout out to los guys de Los Cabros, talentazos, esos gallos, their story is that they're coming from another state, they come from Ohio. you know, I've seen that. Pues I come from Maryland. I'm from the East Coast. Igual venimos a la ciudad a echarle ganas y a hacer música. So, y son talentazos, bro.
Yeah.
Talentazos, chulada de personas. Hemos coincidido en eventos igual. Hay con ellos y is, you know, they have their following and they're doing it, you know, they get to go on tour too, you know, here and there, other states. So, you know, that's a big step for you, you know, en tus inicios, ellos también que quieren apoyar a ti, you know.
For someone who's just starting off and stuff like that,
yeah.
You know, I'm thankful for them to help me out a little bit right there. So, yeah, pues, I got a little bit more attention there from Los Cabros. Yeah, pues, I had, like, Le Mans and all the other grupos, todo eso. So, yeah, ever since I had that attention right there, yeah, I got an Instagram DM from somebody. I'm like, who's this? It was a message, like, in my spam request on Instagram, in the DMs. I'm like, who's this? And it was some girl asking me. She's like, hey, I've seen your TikToks and your radio show. I've been tuning in the past couple of weeks. And she's like, I want to write a story on you from the Chicago Tribune. And I was like, whoa. Like, I told my mom. Mom started crying. My dad started like, oh, yeah. So, yeah, I got to know her. Saludos a Alejandra por ahí. Que
Saludos.
She made the story come true por ahí in Chicago Tribune. She interviewed me. You know, she talked about, you know, how pretty much we talked about how, you know, I started off whitewashed, todo eso, ya, pues, niveles, you know, going up to how it is now, how we talked about already. But, yeah, man, that brought another publicity to my name, man. Seeing my picture in the newspaper, it's a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
Feeling, and it's just so grateful. So, yeah, I got a little bit more awareness from there. Yeah, pues, ya vamos in the summer now. We're in the summer. Yeah, pues obviamente school's not going on no more, so they're like, hey, it's not required anymore. They're like, but whoever wants to have the radio show going, you can do it. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, nah. I'm like, I want to keep it going. I'm like, can I get the 2 hours of showtime? And she's like, oh yeah. She's like, what day you want? I'm like, well, I want Fridays. So yeah, I had my showtime Fridays from 2 to 4 or something like that. And pretty much nobody had a show on Friday. So if I wanted to, like, I could have a group from like 9 a.m. and like back to back until the studio closed. But no, luego se cansan, ¿no?
Sí, muchas horas.
But yeah, so yeah, that's where it started. And I'm, you know, like I said, how I was in high school, you know, I'm always looking what's the next step for myself, what's the next step for the radio station moving forward. You know, I always like to make sure have a goal set in front of me, because, you know, si no tienes metas, ¿dónde vas a llegar en la vida? You know, so yeah, I seen a flyer from Michelada Fest on my Instagram page. I'm like, I really like, you know, hyping up a crowd. I really like engaging with the people, you know, todo eso. Like, let me shoot them a message on Instagram saying, like, hey, you know, is it possible that I could host the event? You know, I know it's a big event. I'm like, and I'm just starting out. I'm like, but, you know, here's my radio show. And I voy enseñando, like, my resume, todo eso. And they left me on red. And I was like, all right, it is what it is, you know. And then in this industry, you know, people are going to tell you no, they're not going to mess with your stuff at times. And, you know, that's okay. You know, you got to move on in life y todo eso. Pero ya, I got a message from mi compa Osvaldo, que está por aquí. Saludazos.
Big saludazos, compa Osvaldo, por ahí.
Yeah, and he texted me on Instagram from his personal account. He's like, hey, he's like, I seen your message. He's like, could we talk on the phone? Hey, my hard dropped, and I was like, yeah. I sent him my number. We talked. I want to say like for like an hour and a half straight. Yeah, we were right there talking, and he's like, I can't offer you the host. He's like, because we already have somebody booked, and we paid them and everything like that.
Yeah.
Saludos a mi compa Jesse, por ahí.
Hey, big shout out to compa Jesse.
And so yeah, so they had the whole story. He's like, since you do interviews in the radio station, he's like, how would you like to do media coverage for us and, you know, interview the artists? I was like, that's even better than, you know, being the host, if you ask me. So yeah, I had the opportunity to, you know, be there, you know, start doing the shows y todo eso, start interviewing the grupos y todo eso. You know, start off with, like, you know, the local groups, todo eso. Ya, pues, you know, interviewing La Sonora Santanera, Bronco, Mi Banda Mexicano, and that's where, you know, it's been going out from there, man.
The experience with with Michelada Fest that's your first big event, correct?
That's my first big event, yeah.
You get to interview Bronco, which a lot of people know. I'm a fan of Bronco.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yo escucho de lo más nuevo hasta lo más viejo,
right.
Grupero.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I go down to, you know, like old 1920, 1930 music. Right. You know, blues, a little bit of Elvis. You know, my Spotify is all over the place.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, dude, it's Sonora Santanera. Vivanda el Mexicano ya son agrupaciones internacionales
Right.
reconocidos.
Mhm.
¿Qué sientes tú? ¿Qué son las emociones de que tú tienes a estar tan temprano en tus inicios with hosting or being able to interview those type of people, man? Porque a veces hay gente de locutores grandes que a veces no les dan un espacio,
Right,
you
right.
know?
And it's always like them. They're always the face of the company, por decir.
Yeah.
You know, they really. It's hard to get into that spot. So when you think about it, I started Radio Fuego in the middle of April. So about April, May, and the Michelada Fest was in June. So April, May, June. So I was only 3 months into the radio station going, but it was like shows weekly. So I had that resume to build for me. I think Radio Fuego only had like 150 followers, something like that. So really small. And so for them to invite me, at 3 months into what I wanted to do, it was a crazy experience, man. Just being backstage, being the center of attention, where you're like this, the lights are on you, everybody's got their camera pointing at you, and it's just a crazy experience. And shout out to the Michelada Fest team, the grassroots event team, because they were so flexible with me. They said, hey, you can ask whatever questions you want. They just run it by us real quick, make sure it's cool. And yeah, they liked everything I did, all the questions and segments that I had came up with. They liked it. So yeah, it was a crazy experience to be back there only. And my birthday's in July, so at the time I was still 18.
Okay.
So I was only 18 years old. Interviewing Bronco, Mi Banda Mexicano, stuff like that. So I like to say that to inspire other people. It's never too young to start doing what you do.
Yeah, definitely. Si es algo que te nace y tienes el talento y lo practicas mucho, man, you go a long way, Your
Yeah.
resume is only getting bigger and bigger,
Yeah, bro.
You get to the Michelada Fest, you do that, and then your next event is, what's the next event?
So I was like, I knew I had to. Shout out to Osvaldo and Alex who's watching. Nazo Ken por ahí también.
Companazo, saludazos, gallo.
I knew in the back of my head I had seen the flyer for the next festival, which is Mas Flow. It was a
correct,
reggaeton
yes.
festival. And in my head, I seen that it was the same team from Michelada Fest. So I'm like, in my head, I have to do good here, para que me inviten otra vez, so I can ask permissions. Hey, can I come back and do this for you guys? And pues yeah, obviamente, they liked what I did. They liked how I was on the camera, interacting with the crowd and the groups. Okay, we still have a lot of footage que todavía viene por salir. A whole bunch of funny clips I got talking to people in the crowd y todo eso. I'll tell you one of them. One of them was the mariachi was playing, and we were right there in the VIP section. I was like, let me hear your best grito. It was a group of like older drunk ladies already. And it was around like 3 o'clock already. I don't know how. Ya andaban bien entradas las muchachas. And they grabbed the microphone and they're like echándole cotorreo. So I'm like, man, there's some funny stuff coming, you guys. So stay tuned for that. So
Yeah, the footage, man. Yeah, definitely, porque fíjate que even behind the scenes or when you have a mic, you catch the attention, bro.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that want to be behind the mic. Ya se está dando mucho esas entrevistas. There's some guy from the West Coast. I can't remember his name. Flaco Alto, that's really popping on TikTok.
Oh, is it El Taco Flaco? He dresses like 90s style with those?
No. This guy goes to bailes.
Oh.
He just came.
Oh, Control.
Control.
Yeah, he's funny as hell.
He's
Yeah.
funny. Y él, man, andas anywhere donde va a haber alcohol, va a haber cotorreo.
Yeah, bro. It's so
Porque
funny.
like, especially when you have a camera and a mic.
Yeah, it's so funny messing with people like that, bro.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm for sure, I have no doubt in my mind that you have really good footage.
Yeah,
Because
bro.
Miche Fest, Michelada Fest, it was I had a great time. We went with my son and my wife, and we had Michelada. Shout out to La Curva, to all the guys, all the teams that were selling miches there. Mi compa Chacón, que that's one of my favorites, La Curva, and man, dude, había gente, es pisteado,
Right.
sabes a lo que vas when it
Yeah.
comes to Miche Fest. That's what it is, una michelada. ¿Qué tiene?
Michelada,
Yeah,
bro.
you gotta have it.
Try all the
And you gotta have,
different
yeah, exactly. Vas a cada puesto, te echas
Right.
una de aquí, son 10 puestos, ya son casi
Ya,
12,
bien entrado, yeah.
una cerveza y media a veces,
Yeah.
depending where you get
Right,
it.
and then you don't even feel them because with the miche mix, you're like, it's hot
Exactly.
outside, it's spicy, so you just keep on
Yeah,
going and going
exactly. And it goes to that. So you finish out Miche, how you get into Más Flow? Te hacen la invitación, you ask for, for the permission, como es que Más Flow, porque Más Flow ya es igual otra vez artistas internacionales, otro género, obviously, so your questions have to be different. You got to do a little bit of homework if you're not,
familiar with that side
not familiar to the artists and stuff like that. So how tell us your experience with Más Flow.
Pues yeah, like I said, they like my work from Michelada Fest. They like the interviews we did. Todos salieron bien chingón, todo eso. And I look back at some of the interviews I did at Michelada Fest que are on my page, and I'm like, man, I could have done better here. I could have done better here. But yeah, it's a learning experience. You got to start from somewhere. But yeah, thankfully they had invited me back. They're like, hey, you wanna run it back? I was like, you don't gotta even tell me. I'm like, I'm there. And so yeah, they invited me back from Más Flow. Yeah, pues ahí es otro género. It's not your Michelada Fest where it's Mexican music. Now it's música latina, que es the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. It's a whole different environment. But thankfully, since my mom was born over here in Chicago, she taught me the Spanish rock, the bachata, the reggaeton side. I mean, she still listens to Mexican music also, but I was thankful that I grew up on that stuff too. So hearing the artist, I was like, oh, he's going there, he's going. So yeah, I mean, they invited me back, and I got to interview some pretty big names there, like Zion and Lennox, Evie Queen, a whole bunch of other reggaeton artists that. I mean, we got some good interviews coming out soon with CNCO y todo eso. So another badass time there at Más Flow. I think man, Michelada Fest and Más Flow have a special place in my heart, but I don't know. Me gustaba más, I think, Más Flow because it's something new. I've never been to a reggaeton concert like that before. Seeing how there's so much people in the crowd, it's not just one people. It's a whole bunch of Latinos and Hispanics in the crowd. So I like the.
It was very diverse, I'm assuming, because
yeah.
I got to see Snapchats that week. It kind of rained certain days, right? I just saw Snapchats. I saw some of your clips too. If I can recall, I don't think I've gone to a reggaeton concert. I've been to Maná. I've been to other, it's still Mexican, but it's just it's not reggaeton, and I'm assuming it's another environment as well, because you just don't have people from Central America, South America. You have Mexicans, you have hasta güeros, morenos. ¿Por qué? Because there's a lot of people that hang out, different diversities and ethnicities that hang out together.
Yeah,
so se hace la bola más grande. La música es más internacional, or the beat is more upright, where other
sonidos
yeah, exactly.
There's
so
no live bands, todo eso.
Yeah, exactly. So hace que otra gente de otros lugares le guste más, compared obviously el regional mexicano a veces está un poco más cerradito.
Right.
La gente, even entre nosotros, when it comes to el duranguense, mucha gente del norte de México no le gustaba el duranguense, o la gente del sur, dependiendo de las áreas, Pero being a part of international reggaeton, Latin rhythms and stuff, so it's a whole different crowd that you got to see, right?
It's a whole different crowd. Like you said, doing the research and stuff like that. I want to say for Michelada Fest, my questions flowed a little bit more easier because I kind of already knew the artists already. I kind of knew what to expect from them, what to kind of ask them. But with Más Flow, I kind of had to do my research. Go on YouTube, watch these interviews of previous interviews with the artists they've had in the past. Kind of see what's the artist's vibe like. So you don't want to ask them a question that that you want it to be funny, and they're gonna be completely serious throughout the whole interview and stuff like that. So you kind of just gotta study who the person is, and obviously what do you gotta ask them to us. So it was a whole different script what I had to do.
And that's pretty badass, man. You finish off Más Flow. What's next for you when it comes to that?
So yeah, after Más Flow was in August, I think, or no, it was late July.
Late July. Queenship, I'm assuming.
So
Queenship.
Yeah, I'm looking to the more local side. Yeah, I see, the Queenship Fest flyer, and I see both the Rancho are going to be there. So I hit up los compas de 24K Promotions, compa Jesus, y también compa Eddie de BRBL.
Eddie, yeah.
And I hit them up. I was like, hey, I'm I'm kind of starting off. But lately, I'm known for doing backstage interviews with the groups, todo eso. I was wondering if I can get an interview with all the artists at at Quinche Fest and at Voz de Rancho también si se prestan. They're like, yeah, bro. They're like, come and help us out. Because I mean, it helps them out. I mean, people see my stuff. They're like, oh, like I missed out. I gotta go because it was like a 5 day festival, right?
Yeah, I think they started Wednesday and it ended Sunday.
They had the house music festival, so right?
Yeah. Did you end up going to that too or no?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
A little bit. 'Cause, they started 2 stages for like the style. So I was back and forth though. So, but yeah, I had the idea. Kind of wanted to be on stage hosting events now. Because like I said, you always want to see what's next though. So, but yeah, they already had their host. I don't want to be the person who's taking the mic from them the whole time.
Yeah.
I like the spotlight. I mean, I like to make sure I'm talking though. So, but so yeah. So after Queen Fest, it kind of stood. Just mainly interviews. Hasta ya, I think el Sunday, el compa Johnny 5 que estaba ahí as the MC and the host for the night. He's like, I gotta go early for a tocada. At another place, I gotta leave like an hour early. He's like, you think you can cover for me? I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, without a doubt. Ya, pues ahí entré, I got on top of the stage and I was like, ese grito de todos los mexicanos aquí presente. Ya, pues I interacted with the crowd and I want to say that's where like my first like real gig started kind of as hosting, por decir por ahí.
Okay.
Y ya, pues ya after Queenship, it was the Kermes. At the time of the Queenship, I was working at Aldi as a cashier. So a regular shift from Aldi for me would be I would start at 6 a.m. and get out at 2 p.m.
Okay.
So you get out of these events and you get home like at 11, 12 sometimes.
You gotta be up at 5.
Later, right, you gotta be up at 5 in the morning and stuff like that. So there would be times where I would even be like I would have like not even like an hour, 30 minutes of sleep. Yeah, pues I take a shower y por para trabajo and I'm like. And so I got to the point after the Kermes Fest, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a risk, and I'm gonna quit Aldi, and I'm gonna devote myself to this full time. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna be getting as much money as how I am with a guaranteed job, but I'm willing to take that risk and throw myself out there to see hay trabajo por ahí. And thankfully, there's been trabajos here and there that have helped me out a little bit. But yeah, I think the Kermes Fest, I had the kind of the full time hosting gig with with the DJ Whopper and Johnny Five helping me out a little bit right there. But mainly it was mostly me hosting the event. So that's kind of my first big hosting event, I guess you could say. Pues después de ahí, I had a little hosting event at this plaza in Berwyn. Que los compas de AMG me invitaron because Jesse, usually Jesse's usually their go-to guy for hosting.
Yeah.
But he had an event that they said, hey, they're like, we see you kind of have that same experience that Jesse does. They're like, so you wanna help us out for a little bit? I was like, hell yeah. So pues ahí.
Was it for the Remax?
The Remax event, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So pues ahí I was helping them out a little bit right there. También a little bit different también. They had a bachata, cumbia band.
Yeah, cumbia.
So the banda, vanguardia, todo eso. So a little bit of everything there too también. So it's a different crowd. A lot of people kind of were just there to chill. A lot of people are not really there to dance though. So and I feel like that's a good thing and a good trait and talent that I have is it takes me like a few seconds to realize what crowd I'm dealing with and how much energy to give off because you don't want to be pumped up, and the crowd's like,
Yeah, exactly.
You want to kind of keep it.
Tientas las aguas and you go from there,
exactly, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep the vibe how it is.
Yeah, so, exactly. Because eso tiene mucho que ver because if you're overexcited, a veces la gente se te queda viendo un tipo un poquito raro, you want to say maybe, or you gotta be in level or get try to hype them up a little bit more than what there is, right, depending on the time as well. El tiempo tiene mucho que ver. When it comes to early morning, right, early afternoon, is not gonna be the same ambiente that a 10, 1 o'clock, 2 in the morning type of event. Definitely. So you go do Remax, and then does that because I think Remax is almost one of the last events of the season
or the summer,
of the summer.
They call it like Summerfest, the close of summer. I thought so. Yeah. That pretty much closed the summer for me how it was. Yeah, pues I'm like, okay, back to school and back to the radio grind. So yeah, pues ahí they seen in the summer that I had my 2 hours. Yeah, pues le pregunté otra vez. I was like, hey, can I get my 2 hours back? They're like, yeah, pues So yeah, I started having two groups every week now. Instead of having being in one group, I started having two groups now. But yeah, was in the summer. I mean, the start of the school year, school, radio, kind of just balancing it out and taking it how it was, and just riding the radio with how it's been lately. Been kind of chill. Hasta que llegamos. I'm trying to think if there's anything big in between. No, llegamos en noviembre. So we're closing in now, and I think I posted on my story. I was like, oh, because I like Marca Registrada a lot. They're one of my favorite bands ever. So, you know, and working at like these festivals like Mas Flow, Michelada Fest, the Kermes, and that, you meet so much new people, like photographers. You meet people who come out of state. So I got to network myself with a lot of people. And in one of the festivals, conocí a alguien que se llama compa Tony, from California, and he actually works for RB Music, which is the same label that Marca Registradas in.
Yeah.
Y le pregunté, I'm like, hey, I see Marca Registradas coming to town. What are the chances that I can, get an interview with them? 30 seconds, a minute, whatever short you guys want. Yeah, something, lo que sea. And he's like, yeah, sí se puede hacer. He's like, yeah, me mandó like los steps, like how to get to the arena, who to like say you're with. Until I think I posted on my story like, oh, guys, I'm gonna interview Marca Registrada, like gracias a Dios. Until one day, the next day after that, I got another message in my message request, and that's how it happens. And I got a message, and it was from like a weird account, like had no followers, no nobody. He was nobody following, and he's like, hey, he's like, I see what you're doing. He's like, and I can help you out. He's like, my name is Luis. He's like, I work with Viva Tu Música. He's like, and I work. He's like, I own Colony Music, or part of Colony Music. He's one of the co-owners. He's like, and I can help you out. He's like, I think you can help me out with promoting our events, todo eso, a new way of promoting events y todo eso by doing your interviews and your segments with these artists. He's like, and I can help you connect to them, because man, you don't know how hard it is to try and find somebody who knows this guy to try and get backstage at every event. It gets frustrating after a while, and so it's a lot to put on the table. But gracias a Dios, he put me on, and pues we had our first interview with Viva Tu Música, with Marca MP, which crazy how they broke up now. So it's like, damn.
I did see that.
So it's like...
you had one of the last interviews.
Exactly. It's a good achievement to have that I had the last interview with Marca MP, hopefully.
Todos juntos, before the split up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pues después de ahí, era Marca Registrada. And I was like, man, I was a little bit nervous right there, and I rarely get nervous, how I told you, but I was a little bit nervous. So yeah, we did the one with Marca Registrada. That one came out fire también. Pues me dijo, he's like, hey, you'll be back like in 2 weeks, right? And I was like, what's in 2 weeks? He's like, oh, pues La Arrolladora and Luis R. Conriquez. I was like, so you're inviting me for those two? He's like, yeah, bro. He's like, vente. He's like, we'll do the interview with them. And so yeah, we did it with La Arrolladora. That was Wednesday, and then Thanksgiving was Thursday. Yeah, was Friday. The most recent one we did with Luis R. Conriquez. And man, that one was crazy. Like everything how I expected Luis R. Conriquez to be, like bien, cálmese pa, like bien serio. That's exactly how he was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fire. Yeah, what was it? Saturday, Sunday, the day after? No, Saturday, Sunday. No. Oh, pues Grupo Frontera was here not too long ago.
Okay. Mention.
Yeah. And I texted one of the guys. I was like, hey, now I'm okay. Now I have all these interviews. Now I'm gonna start labeling myself as a music reporter. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of been known for now. So yeah, when I go and ask for people, if I can do the interview, I'd be like, hey, my name's Luis. I'm a 19-year-old music reporter out of Chicago, and I was wondering if we can do an interview. That's my script to shoot out to them. Yeah, pues the drummer, compa Carlos, the Grupo Frontera, he messaged me back. And he's like, hey, he's like, vente. He's like, we'll do it. Yeah, I got there like at 1 because they said they were gonna play a little bit late. I was like, okay, I'm gonna play like 2, 3. They didn't start till like almost 4 in the morning.
Shit.
And I was so tired. I'm like, man, I don't want to leave. I'm like, because I want to get this interview. So yeah, we did the interview after. Ya era como las 5 de la mañana. Like we were all tired, but we still got like an interview too coming también. And yeah, that's pretty much recently how we've been in the loop so far. Closing off the year with I think a bang, as you can say.
Definitely.
I would have loved to get the Fuerza Regida interview, but Friday. But we'll see what happens. Maybe somebody could pull some strings, or I'll get in there
Yeah.
somehow. But I mean, I look back at you know the past 7 months or whatever it's been since April, and I'm like, man, I think I did a pretty good job doing what I did, and starting from nothing and coming from this to also having the platform now. So I'm happy what it's came to. Oh, man. In the meantime, before, like when I was starting school, NBC Chicago wanted to highlight me for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Oh, perfect.
So they did a video on me, me at the radio station saying that, I was an aspiring radio personality, todo eso. Yeah, so shout out to NBC Chicago también for
Big shout
highlighting
out,
me
definitely, man.
for the Hispanic Heritage Month. It was crazy too, to be featured on the news twice already in 1 year. It's a good feeling.
In your first full year, we can say,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
not
man.
even,
That,
man.
no, no cualquiera, man. It's some big accomplishment that you're making already. I think you're reaching out to the correct people. The correct people are reaching out to you.
Yeah.
You're building those bridges, like I stated earlier. Poco poco va la cosa. You start from somewhere and you're getting somewhere, and it's only and only goes from there, man.
Yeah,
It
man.
just keeps going up and up. Well, building those bridges, man. I'm happy to hear your story. Y todavía lo que se viene, because
Sí, bro.
I've seen you posted up. You're gonna be hosting a couple of bailes.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's you hosting dices tú. It's something else as well.
Right. It's a whole
It's
nother.
outside of the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Outside la cabina. You interact with people now. You're gonna
Right.
be interacting with bands. You're gonna be meeting a lot of more people.
Mm-hmm.
Ya para que obviamente you build those bridges y you bring them into your radio show.
Yeah, bro. Mm-hmm.
Y poco a poco cuando veas ya vas a tener grupos grandes going to your radio show
Yeah.
cuando den la vuelta para estos lados. Muchos, when you build that bridge, muchos sí se prestan para ir aunque sea una media hora,
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes, even 20 minutes, van de pasada y hey, vamos a echar unas dos rolas, una entrevista. The typical radio 5-minute interview or
Mm-hmm.
10-minute y se van, pero
Right.
cuando esos tipos de agrupaciones or people toman un tiempo para ir a tu programa, that means a lot,
Yeah, man, it means a lot.
and obviously they take you into consideration because you're doing a good job, los entrevistas
Mm-hmm.
bien, les das esa uh, promoción positiva, y
Mm-hmm.
ellos eso es lo que ellos buscan
Right,
también.
bro. And when I started, I'm like, okay, I knew I wanted it to be the interviews todo eso, but like I wanted some way for the music to be incorporated in it too. So if somebody's watching, they'd be like, hey, me gusta como tocan ellos. Like, let me check them out. Let me book them for a party. So that's kind of like how I wanted to do it. And thankfully we've had norteños, sierreños. We just had the first banda, even though we didn't have the whole banda and like the whole sonido in there because we don't want to blow out the microphones yet. But,
Yeah.
But sooner or later, we're gonna do some big things. We're gonna have mariachis coming in to the radio station. Eventually next year. Exclusive news, first time set here. I want to start bringing in like restaurant owners, like just influential people in the in general, not just artists in general. I want to bring in anybody who has a story and wants to share their platform with us. So ahí tengo ese espacio, and like I said, if I can help people, that's my goal, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, how are you finishing out the year? When it comes to December, basically tomorrow, yeah, primero
Yeah,
de
bro.
diciembre, ya 31 more days, and
Yeah.
the year's over. ¿Cómo vas a terminar este año?
Pues ya vamos. Next week's the last episode of Radio Fuego because I leave to Mexico December 7th. So ya,
ya empiezan las vacaciones,
Ya
¿verdad?
empiezan
Qué
las
bueno.
vacaciones. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully have some more content out there, and probably not get some interviews with people over there, cause oh man, who knows? Maybe se da la oportunidad de estar con unos señores, get some good clips with them, and todo, so that, I bet you they have stories too,
Yeah,
where they
definitely.
they started playing when they were like 12 years old or something like that. So I don't know, a ver. We got a lot of new exciting content coming in December and January coming too, cause I'm being there for like a month in Mexico. I'm gonna be in Guanajuato and San Luis, por ahí. And yeah, man, it's like I said, it's been a crazy 7 months. What it was, and I'm thankful for the groups that have all came onto my show. Each and every single one, I try to treat them with the same experience that I do everybody else, and so. I still have a lot of podcasts, and YouTube videos to edit that hopefully I'm gonna get done, when I'm in Mexico, you know, and edit them out there because ahorita, you know, it's finals week, so, you know, a little bit stressed out y todo eso, but, you know, making sure, you know, we finish strong in school primero. Y ya, pues, lo demás, you know, the entertainment is going to be out there sooner
Yeah,
than later.
definitely, man. Hay más tiempo que vida y pues lo importante que estás en la escuela and you get that scholarship, that full ride. So, you know, hay que aprovecharlo y, you know, como dices tú, you know, sometimes school is kind of first, you know,
Yeah,
so you could get your education and get that degree for lo que tú quieres de comunicación. Y pues de ahí you're basically branching off of that for everything else, man. So congratulations on that, man.
Appreciate you.
And hopefully you have a great vacation, well deserved, because
Yeah,
you've
bro.
been grinding, bro. I've noticed. I've seen it. You've been grinding since the summer, and in the summer is usually the heavy for everybody, for all the
bro.
musicians, for all the music, all the events.
Gotta
You know,
get out
there's privadas and there's bailes, and you're up and down. Y a veces no descansas bien, como dices tú. So, you know, you're just basically preparing for the next year coming up, you know?
Yeah, bro.
Once winter finishes and spring and summer hits, you're going to be booked, man. You're going to be, primero Dios que vas a andar para arriba y para abajo. Y lo bueno que estás haciendo lo que te gusta, you know? But
it's not forced or it's not...
Exactly. You know, it's not like your normal 9 to 5 where...
Es como un hobby. Ya ni es trabajo at the end of the day. It's like un gusto.
Yeah, es un gusto. Y un career, usually your career is where you wake up every day enjoying what you do, you know, because a job, pues, a veces lo haces porque tienes que, you know, you need that income. Yeah, you got to put that bread in the table and bring in the money home. You know, that's a job normally, but when you're doing your career, you're getting paid for what you love to do.
Yeah, bro.
So I congratulate you on that. Before we wrap up today's episode, what's your plans for 2023?
Man, we got a lot of exciting news coming, as you guys kind of heard a little bit. You know, we're gonna bring in some new people for Radio Fuego. We got a lot of new groups that we still haven't seen in Radio Fuego. You know, like Grupo Secta de Vanguardia that we still haven't seen. A lot of groups. El Pacto we still gotta have.
Oh yeah, definitely.
On Radio Fuego in the future. But yeah, hopefully going forward, you know, I've kind of got the advice, you know, to kind of have a later show time because the people who work with us, you know, I want to accommodate them. And also, like, right now I have a good show time, but there's still some people that, you know, hey, you know, one guy's at work, so, you know, it's only going to be like 3 of us. So,
yeah.
So hopefully, you know, we're going to have a later show time. I'm thinking like a late night show now.
Okay.
For a late night radio show. So a lot of people can tune in now. So, you know, a lot of people aren't busy in the night. So, you know, that's one thing we got coming. We're going to be, podemos decir esto ya, I'm going to be representing Michelada Fest and Más Flow otra vez. I'm going to be their media guy in communications. You know, whenever there's an interview on the TV or the newspaper and they need somebody to talk, yeah, I'm going to be that person representing their company.
Congratulations, brother.
So thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And yeah, you know, otra vez interviewing the artists, hosting, who knows what I'll be doing at those festivals. But for sure, I'll be there. Now that in April, we're going to have the 1-year anniversary for Radio Fuego, too. El baile, I don't know if, you know, where we're going to have it, but we're going to have a big ass party. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
1-year anniversary party to celebrate all, like, what we've done as a team. So, and yeah, I'm excited. I want to thank, like I said, all the grupos for coming on to my show, for everybody helping me out, everybody supporting me on Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Apenas vamos empezando, you know, and you know I can't wait to see where it's gonna take us in another year. You know, thank you again for the space, for for
definitely.
me.
Thank you for coming out, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for you having me to share my story. This is the first time, you know, this stuff's out there. So for me to be able to bring it onto your podcast, it means a lot, and I hope people can look back like 10 years later cuando ya ando famoso y people will be like, oh, look at
it. En las radios grandes, sí, en los escenarios grandotes. Yeah, definitely, man. Para eso es la plataforma. I always say it, you know. I push out to try to put it in as much media stream where I can. We are in Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So, I mean, donde quiera, y se queda ahí, se queda, you know, se queda, and that's the whole purpose. I think before, hopefully, we finish the year, we're into our first, we made our first year in October. So we're only like a year and 3 months in, and we are already running almost to close to, I think, almost 3,000 streams on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So, and it's a one-man show, as you can see.
Yeah,
you know, it's a one-man show.
Está mejor así, bro, because tienes tu propio estilo, and you know, va a quedar como tú quieras.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, es una grande inversión que mucha gente no se da cuenta, you know. having the mic set up, the computer, the lights. It's pero es parte de que uno lo que quiere hacer es bringing out the support in the local talent, ya sea músicos, ya sea entrepreneurs, y colegas igual, podcasters y locutores. When it comes to people in the media que les gustan las entrevistas, como dijiste tú en el principio, estás en el otro lado del micrófono hoy. Yeah, bro, eres el entrevistado, no el entrevistador. Sí, so, you know, that's the pretty awesome thing que llegas a hacer. You know, you're in the best of both worlds when it comes to that. So, I mean, I congratulate you, and I want to thank you again. Thank everybody that's streamed out today to watch the stream live. Obviously, recomendamos a Spotify and Apple Podcasts. En el Chokorreo we have todos los episodios desde day one que iniciamos. Ahí tenemos todos los episodios. Y esta noche fue el episodio de mi compa Luis Sanchez de Radio Fuego. Any special shout-outs before we wrap up today?
Yeah, real quick. I missed a few things too. Saludos, mi compa Hector from Kenosha, Wisconsin. He recently I forgot to talk about it. I don't know how I could have forgot that, but he brought me backstage with him to the Allstate Arena to meet Los Tigres del Norte.
Yes, correct.
And although, you know, we I didn't want to, because honestly, I probably could have got the interview, but ahí estaban a gusto. You know, they were being people at the end of the day, and, you know, I kind of, you know, was going to be like, hey, you know, I'm going to just enjoy the experience. You know, I'm not going to force it. I'll just probably get a picture, you know, para recuerdo. I'm like, but yeah, para la próxima, it gives me a goal to, you know, hey, be like, hey, I met you guys, but next time, you know, we're going to do the interview, you know. Next time it's going to be, we're actually going to meet. Also. But even though, you know, I met with them, they were all super, super humble people, like some of the best people I've ever met, and celebrity-wise. They were really, really cool and flexible with, like, people how backstage work also. So, big shout out to my compa Hector. My compa JC, who's been my personal photographer, bro.
Big shout out.
It's crazy to say that, but yeah, he's been my personal photographer throughout all the festivals. He's been with me. I invited him with Michelada Fest, and, you know, every event that we've been at, you know, every event that I have, and I need a cameraman, I know he's always there for me, on the spot, getting some crispy pictures for me, you know, to put on Instagram and todo eso. So, saludos a mi compa JC, my personal photographer. He just said right now.
Yeah, definitely.
The next goal is that he wants me to be at the Latin Grammys.
Yeah,
people. So, I mean,
poco ahí va la cosa.
Ahí va la cosa. But saludos a mi compa Andrés por aquí. Everybody who's on Instagram Live supporting all of us. Like I said, le encargo que vayan a escuchar a mi compa por aquí, que you still got some fire ass episodes in the bag. De los que se viene también.
Yeah, definitely. Ahorita stuff, we have one more episode que ahorita ya estamos terminando de confirmar. Tenemos in December, obviously ya vienen los días festivos. We have Christmas and New Year's and las posadas and all that stuff. So we got one more episode in December, which is going to be the accordion episode, Acordeoneros Chicago. Confirmados, ahorita estamos ya confirmando a mi compadre Julio from Los Toxis. Nice. We got mi compa Rigo Barajas from la Nueva Elección. We got mi compa Manny de Secta. Mi compa Ramiro, mi compa Ramón from los de San Diego. And who else? We got mi compa Uber from Brigada. And su servidor aquí también, Acordeoneros. So we're going to have a Acordeoneros episode to wrap up the year. Ya en estas semanitas vamos, next week por más tardar ya tenemos la fecha confirmada y los invitados igual. Yes, so that's how we're wrapping it up, and then ya también tenemos un viaje también a Guanajuato, bro. Mi esposa es de Guanajuato, es de Moroleón, Guanajuato, y vamos para allá en los mediados de enero. So we'll probably have one episode en enero y después arrancamos también otra vez con the year. We already have mi compa Fry. El padrino por ahí del Chokorreo, mi compa Fry from AMG, ya trabajando en la nueva imagen for 2023. So, you know, we try to change it up, have a new image, keep it fresh and stuff like that. So, poco a poco van dando las cosas. So, yeah, con esto andamos, we're wrapping up the episode tonight. I want to thank everybody that came, that watched us, watched this episode. Las redes de mi compadre Luis.
You guys can find me on Instagram at the Real Sanchez. That's where I'm mostly active on. But también you guys can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, como Radio Fuego. you guys see my logo? It's green. There's actually another company called Radio Fuego, obviously, in Ecuador.
Okay.
And they got like 50,000 followers. And people are like, oh, this is you? I'm like, oh, no, that's not me. That's not me. That's somebody else. So you'll see it. The green logo with the fire.
Yes.
You guys will see it on there. But yeah, otra vez, man, muchas gracias. Les encargo a toda la raza que vayan a ver Radio Fuego. If you guys haven't already, stick with the journey because, you know, we're barely getting started nosotros.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Vamos para arriba.
Yeah, hell yeah,
Vamos para
definitely. El Radio Fuego, ¿dónde lo pueden encontrar?
See, if you guys search up pretty much uicradio.org, you guys can listen to the link. Pero también I have the link in my bio on Instagram and, you know, everywhere. You just go to my link tree. Y ahí está the link where you can listen to it. The stream is live 24/7. So even when I'm not live and you want to go check it out, there's a whole bunch of college people out there that, you know, they do their show también at UIC. So check them out también. But yeah, you know, check me out Tuesdays 3 to 5 for now. But we're probably gonna have a new showtime in the future. But yeah, just stay ready on social media porque vienen muchas cosas aquí en Radio Fuego.
Yeah, definitely, man. Big shout outs to everybody. Con esto nos andamos despidiendo, mi compa Luis Sánchez,
Muchas
Radio
gracias.
Fuego. Nos vemos para la próxima. Saludos.
Puro